241.
241. You are listening to Radio 241. Meet your new instructor. 5 times #1 DJ Armin van Buuren will reveal the secrets of music production in his first online masterclass. Songwriting, mixing and mastering, recording vocals, preparing your DJ set. Learn more about Armin van Buuren's masterclass at masterclass.com/AVB.
Do you know what happens every time you open a can of Extremulous energy drink? Oh yeah. Every time you open a can of Extremulous energy drink, you can feel new adventures are coming up. Test the vibes of the new taste. Open a new path of your journey to success. Open a can of Extremulous energy drink. Every day, every time.
The evening news on Radio 241.
Tuesday, 23rd of January 2018. London's King's Cross station was evacuated today due to an emergency. Thousands of rush hour commuters were ordered to leave the area. Initial fears that a suspect package had been found were dismissed by TfL, which said the station had been closed as a safety measure because of dangerous overcrowding on the platforms. The station was later reopened as rush hour crowds subsided, but travellers faced disruption throughout the morning. Legendary jazz trumpeter Hugh Masekela has died today, aged 78. Considered to be the father of South African jazz, he has been a leading figure in the struggle to end apartheid. His family communicated that he passed peacefully in Johannesburg after a courageous battle with prostate cancer. Masekela gained global recognition for his distinctive Afro jazz sound and hits such as Soweto Blues. The 1977 song became synonymous with the anti-apartheid movement. South African President Jacob Zuma said Masekela's death was an immeasurable loss to the music industry and to the country at large. His contribution to the struggle for liberation will never be forgotten. Singer-songwriter Neil Diamond has announced he is retiring from touring with immediate effect after being diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. For half a century, he has entertained audiences around the world with hits including Solitary Man and Sweet Caroline. The 76-year-old apologised to fans who have booked tickets for his upcoming shows, adding that he has been honoured to perform for so long for so many people. Park Lane Fish and Chips in Cardiff plans to be the first 24-hour fish and chip shop in the UK. Park Lane, which also sells deep-fried chocolate treats, currently has a licence to open until 11 p.m. and sell alcohol until that time. Concerns have been raised by local residents and the police, who claim it could lead to an increase in antisocial behaviour. A gas leak caused disruption in London's West End this morning. Charing Cross and Waterloo East stations were shut down and reopened only in the afternoon. More than 1,000 people were evacuated from a nightclub and hotel after the leak was discovered at Craven Street. Australian Open 2018. Kyle Edmund has become the 6th male British tennis player to reach the semi-finals at a Grand Slam tournament in the Open era after beating 3rd seed Grigor Dimitrov. Twin car bombs exploded as people left a mosque in a residential area of the eastern Libyan city of Benghazi, killing 27 and wounding more than 30 in an attack timed to cause mass casualties among first responders. Captain Tariq As-Kazaz, a spokesperson for the military and police forces in Benghazi, said the first explosion took place around 8:20 p.m. The second went off half an hour later as residents and medics gathered to evacuate the wounded. No group have immediately claimed responsibility for the bombings, and the United Nations condemned the attack on social media. A 15-year-old student opened fire with a handgun inside a rural Kentucky high school, injuring 19 and sending hundreds fleeing for safety. The shooter, who has not been identified, entered a common area at Marshall County High School in Benton and pulled out a pistol and began firing at a student. It was the nation's first fatal school shooting of 2018. Netflix subscribers' rates surged past 117 million last year as the streaming giant added a record 8.3 million subscribers in the 3 months leading up to December. The firm says that the beautiful quarter shows its investment in original programming is paying off. Market researchers show that viewers were attracted by new seasons of shows including The Crown. Revenue rose almost a third to about $3.3 billion in the fourth quarter.
You're listening to Radio 241.
This is Radiography on Radio 241. Good evening and welcome to the first night with Radiography, our new weekly show dedicated to underground music personalities, musicians and record producers. Our guest today is music producer Sonke Prieger. Born in Germany and based in southeast London, Prieger moved to the UK in the mid-90s and got involved in the capital's electronic music scene. He's released several techno albums under the name of Speed. He then progressively shifted towards UK garage and chill-out genres. He's been active as a producer in music for advertising and TV scoring. He was awarded a BAFTA Prize for the children's TV programme The Wrong Trainers. He's been a long-time lover of analog gear and synthesizers. Nonetheless, he's kept an eye on developments in modern technology. We had a chat with Sonke in his studio in Bermondsey to talk about his beginnings in the music industry and milestones of his career in London. In the course of this programme, we're going to dive into the sounds of Prieger's recording projects Speed and Curfew. So, how did you first get interested in music?
I think I've been interested in music ever since I can remember, because my dad played in a band, so we always had music in the house. I think when I was 9 or 8 I took piano lessons, did that until I was a teenager, then I had a few guitar lessons, and then I had to sell my train set to buy an organ so I could play in a band.
And what music were you listening to at the time?
First, probably rock, because everyone in school was listening to Queen or AC/DC, or I was mainly into rock. But then I figured out rock music is not really good for keyboards unless you're Deep Purple. And then shortly after I discovered Genesis, and then I really got into prog rock. Do you want to hear a prog rock song I wrote in the 80s? I recently found it. I wrote that in 82. I mean, obviously I recorded it last year, but...
So what happened next?
Then I moved to London and I wanted to do techno, because then in Germany, like in the late 80s, early 90s, we had a big techno scene because of Berlin and the wall came down. I liked it because it's like techno was something like lots of synthesizers. So yeah, if you want to make music with synthesizers, you do techno. And then obviously when I came to London, everyone thought I'm German. Oh, you're German, you must like Kraftwerk. Yeah, I know one song of Kraftwerk. So I got everybody gave me like cassettes with Kraftwerk on, so I listened to it, and then I got into electronic music. Everyone I knew in Germany, they were still listening to rock, so I just didn't know many people in Germany were into techno. I did techno for a while and needed a name for my thing. And I was gonna call myself Spice, but just when I called myself Spice in '96, there was the Spice Girls, and you couldn't call yourself Spice anymore because everyone was saying, "Oh, you took that from the Spice Girls." I said, "No, I was there first." So I said, "Okay, what else can I do with SP because these are my initials?" Oh, I like Formula One. How about Speed? And it's a drug, and people always think musicians take drugs.
Yeah. Okay, so what was the London techno scene like in the 90s?
It was mental. I went to a few warehouse parties. We always went to Brixton, somewhere under the railway arches. I can't remember exactly where it was, but it was always really loud. It was just crazy. I remember once I went into a club. It was so loud that people's eyeballs were actually popping out.
Yeah. Okay, how was the London scene different from Germany?
It was different techno than it was in Germany. But that London techno wasn't as hard as German techno. And then I just totally lost track of techno because in the late 90s, always the other thing that came out was UK garage, and I just loved that.
So, how did the Curfew project develop?
That came about through Future Music magazine, often came with free CDs. On that CD was this song, Kirsty Hawkshaw, And I heard this and I was totally hooked, and I thought, wow, they're using vocals. It's still electronic music, but they used a lot of like trumpets, live bass and guitars. I thought, I can play guitar and I can play bass, and I know musicians that can play stuff. So, and this was a bit more kind of musically interesting than dance music. I mean, I still think dance music is not very musically interesting. It's mainly about the beat. Here's a bit more about chords and melodies and stuff like that. So that I was totally hooked. And then I thought, okay, I need to find a singer. And that was, I think, in 2000. And really since then, so that's 18 years now, I'm still looking for a singer. So then I recorded the first Curfew album, and then I decided, okay, I make the songs first and then I find a singer.
Was it a studio only project?
First of all, I didn't think of playing live. But then I thought, okay, we recorded the first CD, and then why not doing it live? Because I did miss that. Sitting in the studio is nice, but then I did miss going out and play live.
Through the lens, there's no pretense. I let the light in, show you what is real. You cannot hide from my eyes. I cannot about what I see.
So we did that 2003. We did lots of gigs, like festivals, all the London venues, which were back in the day were a lot more than you have now.
Can you introduce your last release?
I've been in here now for a year. I needed a project to work on. This came out on a Swedish label, Yellow Rhinestone Records. I made this track, came out in October last year.
Thank you for your time, Sonke. Tune in again next Tuesday for another episode of Radiography. Our guest next week will be P House from Brixton. Enjoy your evening and have a good one. This is King David saying, keep it locked to Radio 241.
The Blue Room presents a night of experimental techno with Cole Super, Laurel Halo, Palms Tracks, Butrix Dylan. Hosted by Hessel Audio. Friday, February the 16th at the Blue Room in Hoxton. Info at hesselaudio.com.
Break the threads that control your life like a puppet. Break the chains of your slavery. Break the wires. Get the new M&D wireless headphones and enjoy the freedom. M&D wireless headphones available at Amazon Store and www.mnd.com.
241.
241. You are listening to Radio 241.
You're listening to Radio 241.
Café del Mar, Ibiza, sonido chill out. Come to the fiesta. New album release, Café del Mar.